Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my students. We will begin to revise also most of the session of revision. We'll revise 7, 8, you know. I will begin with my student. I said you will study, inshallah, today and tomorrow, Unit 6 and Unit 7, okay? So, my students, renewable resources. What are renewable resources? Okay, Yasser Muhammad, is Yasser? Yasser, what is renewable resources?
They are resources that can be replaced.
Thanks. Right, thanks, Yasser. Abdullah Omar?
Yes, mister.
All right, Abdullah.
Fine.
We reach Abdullah to the gemstone. We revise until gemstone, okay? We revise until gemstone here.
Yes.
We want to say copper. We use copper, Abdullah, copper.
Used to make electrical wires.
Excellent. Omar Wael, sand is used for?
Yes.
Sand is used for what?
Make glass computer.
Screen, glass computer screen. Thanks, Omar. Muaz Ahmed, oil.
Hello.
Hello, Muaz. Okay. We use oil for what?
Is used to make plastic bars.
Excellent. Okay, Omar Sultan, we use sun and wind for what?
What?
Sun and wind, we use it for what?
I didn't hear you. What?
Sun and wind are renewable resources, okay?
Used for getting energy.
Yes, forget like what energy, my students? Like electric energy. We can get electric energy? That's an example. Example of this energy, my students, electric energy, okay? What is the other energy? Heat energy. Understand?
Yes.
Yeah, electric heat, we can see light energy, the sun, light energy. So, okay, all of them, they are kinds of energy. There are kinds of energy here. Light energy, chemical energy, and so on. Okay. Thank you, Omar. Omar Osama, cotton.
Yes,
Today we will study using solution. We use cotton for what?
for clothing, like shirts
Thank
and t-shirts and shorts. Mister,
Thanks. Yes, Omar.
In a times when you play a video in meeting, a lot of times I didn't hear well.
That is the last video.
No,
Yesterday.
of faces of moon.
Yeah, faces of moon. You want to hear about? You want to know more about face of moon? Okay.
No, but I didn't hear well.
So you want to hear? Okay, no problem. We will repeat it. No problem. You want faces of moon? Okay.
Okay.
No problem. We can repeat it today. No problem. I will repeat it for you. There's another thing.
No.
But you understand. You understand everything. Okay. I will inshallah repeat it for you. But now, after we have finished here, revision. No problem.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Ammar Khalid.
Yes, Mister.
Okay, pollution.
Pollution is harmful substances in the environment. Example, air pollution. Example, air pollution. It is smoke burning and fossil fuels. Like this, Mister.
Thanks. Thanks, Ammar.
Mister, we take this in social. We take the air pollution and water pollution and land pollution.
Thanks a lot. I knew you are excellent, my friend. If you want to go to screenshot of this another time as you like. Okay. Muhammad Islam, my friend. How are you, Muhammad?
Yes, Mister.
Okay. Today we study pollution. We revise the pollution. What are kinds of pollution?
Air pollution, water pollution, land pollution.
Excellent. Excellent, my students. Nash'at, what is pollution? All the students awake for me. Be awake for me. With me, I'm sorry. Be awake with me. Nash'at, where are you? Where are you, Nash'at? Okay, Awan Ashraf. Awan.
Yes, Mister.
What is pollution, Awan?
Yes, Mister.
Pollution.
I'm not a harmful substance in the
Because you are late,
environment.
Nash'at. Because you are late. I will ask Awan Ashraf first because he answering well, but you are late. I don't know why.
What is
minute.
pollution, Mister? Harmful
Yes, pollution.
substance in the environment.
Mister, I'm sorry, but I go to bathroom.
No problem. You take permission after that, Nash'at. Don't worry. You take permission. Okay, Awan, another time. But wait, Nash'at, no problem.
What is pollution?
Yes. What's pollution?
Harmful substances in the environment.
Excellent.
Mister,
Nash'at, yes, Awan.
Mister, I don't hear the video of the experiment of the boy.
Yeah, the last time.
Yeah.
Okay, I will repeat it so for you. No, don't worry, I will repeat. But we want to revise it now because our revision is important. Because you will do well in the exam. Because we revise, okay, due to the exam.
Thank you, Mister.
You are very welcome, my students. Nash'at.
Yes.
Okay, Nash'at. What is pollution, Nash'at?
Pollution is harmful substances in the environment.
Thanks, harmful. Not pollution is a good thing or bad thing, Nash'at?
Bad.
Bad thing. Thanks, Nash'at. Dr. Muhammad Ali, how are you, Dr. Muhammad Ali? Yes. How are you? Muhammad Ali. How are you, Dr. Muhammad Ali? Okay, Muhammad Amir.
Yes, Mister.
Muhammad Ali, what we use the copper for
Muhammad
what?
Amir, Mister. Yes, Mister. Muhammad
Yes,
Amir.
Muhammad Ali, 1 minute because you are late. Muhammad Amir, we use copper for what? Copper.
Copper used to make electric wires.
Thanks. And Muhammad Ali, use wood for what? Wood.
Used to make electric wires.
Mister, I have a question.
Okay, Muhammad, what's your question?
In any time we will begin the exam.
Inshallah, you can ask Mr. Mutwalli, okay? Exactly.
Okay.
I have the date, but you can ask 1 minute. You want grade 3?
Yes,
Okay,
the exam
I
of
will tell you. Grade 3, to 14 of March. It will be from 5:45 to 6 and a quarter, like a, or 5 quarter to 6 quarter, 1 hour PM, okay? But ask Mr. Mutwalli to make sure. To the science exam, it's on Sunday, 14th of March, 2021, from 5:15 to 6:15. But ask Mr. Mutwalli also to make sure. Okay, Muhammad Ali?
Okay, what do you want?
What's the
Okay,
wood used for what? Wood. Wood.
Wood?
Do you know wood?
Yes.
Used for? Used for what?
For furniture. But Mr. don't close my mic.
Okay. Yasin Muhammad. How are you, Yasin? Yasin Muhammad. Yasin,
Hello,
how are you? Yasin, what are kinds of pollution?
Land pollution, air pollution, and water pollution.
Excellent, thanks. Sattam, we didn't hear you at all. Where are you, Sattam? Sattam. We don't hear you. Why? Where are you? Sattam. I will remove from the. If you don't answer, Sattam, I will remove you from the session now, because I said you 3 times, Sattam. I will return it to you another time. If you don't answer, I will remove you. Abdurrahman Badawi.
Yes, Mister.
How are you, Abdurrahman Hassan Badawi?
I said you, but about you.
Thanks, Abdurrahman. You are my friend. Oil. Oil is used for what, Abdurrahman?
Oil is used to make plastic parts.
And it's used for fuel. Do you remember? By the car, you know?
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
And
Okay, Abdurrahman. Complete. Yes. Yes, Abdurrahman.
yes, Mister, to cook.
Well, you want to say something?
Yes. What is?
What do you want to say?
I say to cook and to make the bicycle is to have
Yes.
to the
Yeah, as a fuel. Thanks. As a fuel. Yes, for cars, for motor, some motorbikes. Thanks, Abdurrahman. I'm sorry, Abdurrahman, because I must close off mics due to other students. Okay. Okay, with the other, Abdurrahman Muhammad Al-Aqad. Where are you?
Yes, I am here.
Cotton. Cotton used for what, Abdurrahman? Cotton.
Cotton is used in clothing.
Excellent. Okay. Thanks, my students.
Welcome.
عرش من طاهر. عرش من طاهر. Arshman, where are you? Dr. Tamim, where are you? Muaz Ahmed. Muaz Ahmed Shaban. Muaz?
yes
Yes, what is pollution, Muaz?
pollution harmful
Substance.
substance in the environment.
Thanks a lot. Thanks. Muhammad Mahmoud, where are you? Okay.
Mister, I am Dr. Tamim Ahmed.
Dr. Tamim Ahmed, how are you, Dr.
Yes,
Tamim?
Master. I am Muhammad Mahmoud.
1 minute, Muhammad. Okay.
Tamim.
Dr. Tamim, where are you? I said to you many times. Okay, give me what sand is used for what? Sand.
To make glass computer screen and to make also soil.
Thanks. Sand soil. Thanks a lot. MashaAllah. Okay. Where is Muhammad Mahmoud? Yes, Muhammad Mahmoud.
Yes, master.
What's pollution, Muhammad? Pollution? What's pollution, Muhammad?
Harmful.
Muhammad, pollution. It's in front of you. What's pollution?
Harmful.
Okay, pollution is the harmful substance in the environment, Muhammad. Harmful substance. No problem. Okay, my student, today we will study. Okay, we will study math study, or I think 300. Go to 354 here. We will study math today. Do you see this boy? Okay, making something here. Do you know? But you want to measure something here. If you measure what he wants, you measure mass. Mass is the amount of matter an object has. Here this boy, this amount of sand. Beside the boy there is, or beyond the boy, or back of the boy there is a sea. The amount of water in the sea, that is the mass of the sea. Mass is also a measure of how hard it is to move an object. The more mass an object has, the harder it is to move the object. How can you measure the mass? You measure the mass of sand or water or any mass, my students, by using this one, by using the balance here. We use the balance to measure the mass. The balance measure mass grams. How can you measure the mass of the contents of a pocket? You will, okay, think in it in the homework. This was in the homework. So you will think in it as you like, then you will try to solve it. Okay. So here, you know that just we will study the mass today. Mass means the amount of matter in an object. What is the matter? First, some student asks for me, okay, phases of the moon to revise. All the students revise with me, okay, at the same time of the phases of the moon, because it's very important in the exam. So my students, listen.
It's the brightest and most noticeable object in the night sky. But if you spend much time observing it, you will see that the moon is never quite the same from one night to the next. The moon has something we call phases, which means that it appears to change shape a little bit every night. To understand why this happens, we need to talk a little bit about the way the Earth space. The moon orbits around the Earth, much like the Earth orbits around the Sun. However, while the Earth takes about 365 days to travel once around the Sun, 1 year, the moon completes its orbit around the Earth in only 29.5 days, or about 1 month. That's actually where the idea of months came from, the time it takes for the moon to complete one orbit around the Earth. And the words moon and month come from the same root. Despite how bright it looks in the sky, the moon does not have any light of its own. It only appears to shine brightly in the sky because light from the sun hits it and bounces off. Just like the Earth, the moon has a day side and a night side, with half of it in sunlight and half of it in darkness at any one time. As the moon travels through its orbit around the Earth, that dividing line between day and night, called the terminator, is visible from different angles, giving the impression that different amounts of the moon are lit up on different days. The cycle of lunar phases begins with the new moon. At new moon, the moon appears completely dark because the unlit side is facing the Earth. New moon is the only time in the lunar cycle when a solar eclipse could happen, because it is the only time that the moon is between the sun and the earth. After a few days, once the moon has moved along a little in its orbit, we can begin to see some of the moon's day side from Earth. What we see is just a thin slice of light called a crescent. We call it a waxing crescent because waxing means growing. The crescent moon will grow a little bit thicker every night until it reaches the next phase, first quarter. The first quarter moon is sometimes called the half moon because it appears
here the phases of the moon. If you want the face of the moon here, that is the face of the moon. Revise well and try to listen. Anyone don't go away from the session.
to us that half of the moon is illuminated, but it is called first quarter because the moon is 1/4 of the way through its cycle. As the days pass, the moon continues to grow, soon entering its next phase, the waxing gibbous. Gibbous means humped or swollen, and again, we call it waxing because it grows thicker every night until it reaches the next phase, the full moon. A full moon is the biggest, brightest, and easiest phase of the moon to see. The moon rises at sunset and is up all night, so if you are outside and the sky is clear, it's hard to miss. The moon is halfway through its orbit around the Earth and is now on the opposite side of the Earth from the sun. During a full moon is the only time that a lunar eclipse can happen, because that is the only time that the Earth's shadow could fall on the moon. As the moon continues in its path, it appears to shrink again as we begin to see more and more of its dark side. A few days after the full moon will be a gibbous again, but this time it's a waning gibbous. Waning means shrinking or getting smaller, and so the moon will be waning for the rest of its orbit. The next phase is another half moon, but this time it's called third quarter, or sometimes last or final quarter, as the moon is 3/4 of the way through its orbit. Soon the half moon shrinks into a waning crescent, which will continue to shrink night after night until it vanishes completely into the next new moon. Big and bright and beautiful.
Revise the moon, the face of the moon. Someone asked about the faces of the moon, okay? So my students, you studied matter today. Matter.
Woo! Adapted mind math! Come explore the site with me. I'm in first grade.
Our topic for today is states of matter. Matter is made of particles. It exists in 3 states, namely solid, liquid, and gas. The different states of matter are due to the different arrangement of particles of matter. In solid state, the particles of matter are very close to each other. So, the particles hold each other very tightly. That is, there is a strong force of attraction between them. As a result, solids have a definite shape and volume. In liquid state, the particles are packed closely together, but they are much farther apart than the particles in solids. And so, the force of attraction is weaker than it is in solids. Therefore, liquids have a definite volume, but they do not have a definite shape. They take up the shape of the container in which they are kept.
Okay, my students, state of matter, solid, liquid, and gas. So you can measure the mass of each state, as you like. So in kind of water liquid state, okay? Gas state, like what? Like water vapor, okay? And like oxygen, and like carbon dioxide. You understand? So my students, you must know the mass and the amount of matter. Okay. If we have water, that's the amount of water. If we had ink, amount of ink. If we had a glass of milk, that's the amount of milk, and so on. We said in the first term, we can measure mass by a unit called gram or kilogram. Okay, we can measure volume by using liter, but today we will study mass here, my students. We will study just mass today. That is the mass. What is the mass? Is the amount of matter an object has. What is the units? Gram and kilogram. What is the tool? Is the time balance. You know? So we say that is the mass here. My students, I will give you the time to write. Write please this one in your notebook. Not in book. In your notebook now. Okay, my students, you're right. So my students, matter is anything. We said before. Anything like water is matter, like solid matter, like liquid matter. Everything around you takes up space. Takes up space. This word means it has volume. That is takes up space. and has a mass mean the amount of matter. The same amount of matter. So if we have amount of space, we set mass. If we set volume. If you have amount of matter, we set mass. Yeah. So if anything that takes up space means it has volume. The volume means the space which is occupied or takes up space. That is the volume. If we said and have a mass, that's the amount of matter. The mass here, brackets, that amount in parentheses, that's amount of matter. So the mass have a mass, and we can say anything that have a mass and volume, just to have a mass and volume. Okay, the same. If we said matter, if anything have a mass and volume, that's okay. The same, okay? So anything have a mass means the amount of matter, amount of water, amount of gas, amount of liquid, amount of anything, this amount, this is called mass. Amount means the grams, okay, or kilograms, according. If it is small, grams or kilogram, okay, grams or kilogram. Understand? So this mass we measure if it is very small or small, they are by gram. The mass is very big or big by kilogram. Thanks for good listening. I wish you understand, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh for a new session. Okay, and I wish you understand well.